What is note investing, right? One of the most powerful ways of investing in real estate that a lot of people don't talk about is becoming the bank. And in this video, I'm going to be talking about how you can become the bank and how I became the bank in this particular scenario. So this property that I'm going to be talking about happened about a little over a year ago, right? I found an opportunity through one of the platforms that I use, which I'm going to be going in depth and talking about one of the softwares that I use, which is Batch Leads, on how I got this particular property under contract, right? So I sent a text message to a landlord, and timing is everything in this business. It happened to be the perfect time for me. I sent him a message and say, hey, would you like to sell your mobile home on land? Sure enough, a week before, the tenant had just left the property, and he said, yes, of course, my tenant just left. And he was actually a little confused on how I had just sent him a message after the tenant just left the property. So make a long story short, I met up with the seller, and we negotiated a deal on this particular property in the city of Cattle Mills. This was just a little under 7 acres on a double wide mobile home that I was able to negotiate and buy this property for $140,000. So what happened next? I asked one of my friends that I met in note school, right, that was able to do a private loan for me for $140,000 to purchase this property. So I used $0 out of my pocket. I think I might have put just maybe closing costs, which wasn't much, out of my pocket to buy this particular property. And the exciting part about it is that it didn't need much work. I put less than $5,000 in painting it and doing a couple of small cosmetic fixes to the property. And then from there, what did I do next? I said, you know what? I'm going to sell this property on the retail market, and I'm going to create a note. Okay. So what did I do? I sold this property for $240,000. Okay. And keep in mind, I owe $140,000 to my private lender. So $240,000 sales price. I found somebody that didn't qualify for traditional financing for whatever reason. So I found somebody that was a contractor, had a roofing company, and that had a good amount of money down. So what happened is they put $35,000 down, right? So $240,000 sales price, $35,000 down. Now there's $205,000 left that I am going to finance to that person, right? Now, $205,000, what did I do? I created 2 notes, right? And some of you guys that may have a mortgage, you may know that sometimes some banks create 2 notes, right? Sometimes an 80-20. So that's exactly what I did. $205,000 debt. I created a note for $50,000 and a note for $155,000. Now what I did is I did all the underwriting kind of like a bank and making sure that this person was able to afford that monthly payment, making sure that credentials were good, and I ran them through an RMLO, right? Which I'll do a separate video explaining what an RMLO is and what they do and why it's important to do all your documentation properly. So that person put $35,000 down. I had $205,000. I created 2 notes, a first lien for $155,000 and a second lien for $50,000. So what did I do next? Once I sold that property, I told my private lender, hey, I'm going to be selling this property, financing it, but I'm going to pay you off because I'm going to sell the first lien position. That's exactly what I did. The $155,000 note, I was able to find a local bank because of the underwriting, because of the way that I structured that loan. They were able to pay 95 cents on the dollar for that debt. And what that means is that they owed $155,000. And I was able to sell that note for $147,250. So I sold it for $147,250 right after closing to pay off my $140,000 lien that I owed my private lender, my private investor, and then I was able to keep the difference, $7,250, right? So after closing costs, I was able to have a couple of $1,000s in my pocket. Keep in mind, because I did put $5,000, a little bit under $5,000 for the repairs. So at this point, I have $0 in this deal, right? Keep in mind, I'm also keeping the $35,000 down payment that this borrower made, right? So I kept $35,000. That's already profit, right, as a down payment. Now what is left? I have a magical $50,000 second note that I'm keeping, right? That person is going to be paying me for the next 30 years. So I actually have my calculator here that I'll be doing a video explaining how this calculator works. This is the 10B calculator that you guys can see, right? So this particular property, we financed it for 30 years, right? So you see the first 360 months on end right there on the left. And I could have made a little bit higher interest, but I did calculate it, like I said, over a year ago, which interest rates were still low. So I pretty much gave a market rate, right? So 4% interest, and the remaining debt was $50,000. And as you guys can see on the right, that equals to a payment of $238 a month that this person is going to pay me for the next 50 years. That's what we call infinite returns. Why? Because I have no money out of my pocket invested into this deal. And if you guys look at the schedule, you guys look at this payment. If this person pays me exactly every single payment, which they have for the past over a year, year and a half, if we go all the way down, that means that this person is going to be paying me $85,000 over the course over the next 30 years. And as they say, that's why the banks continue to get rich, because they make a lot of money off of interest. As you can see, that person is going to be paying me $35,000 in interest over the course of 30 years, even at 4%. So I hope this video helps, and to kind of show you guys the power of note investing and the power of private investors, the power of investing in real estate. So thank you guys for tuning in, and I'll keep you guys posted for the next video. Make sure you subscribe, make sure you like, comment, ask me any questions in this video below. I'm going to be putting all the software tools that I use in the links. Thank you guys, and we'll see you guys on the next video.